Today is bigger than ourselves. It's about the dreams of our parents. The reason we're here is because our parents made the sacrifices to bring us to this country with nothing that they knew of, only the clothes on their back, for us to provide a better family. We're here, we want to serve our country. We want to serve our parents' memory, our community.
A group of undocumented immigrants joined lawmakers on Capitol Hill yesterday, pushing for the right to serve in the military here. The military dreamers, as they are known, are unable to serve in uniform because of their immigration status. Some members of Congress, including Joaquin Castro, are trying to change that.
There are a group of people, these DACA students and DREAM Act students, who, if given the opportunity, would do well in our U.S. military academies, who are eager to serve the only country that they've ever called home.
And I'm joined now by Congressman Joaquin Castro from Capitol Hill. And here with me is one of those military dreamers, Miriam Zamudia-Correa. Thanks and welcome very much.
Oh, thank you for having
Miriam.
me here.
It's great to see you here. I wanted to ask the Congressman first. You got blocked by the Republican leadership in trying to get the Enlist Act into an amendment on the floor as part of the defense authorization. Where do you go next? A standalone bill? Do you have any assurance of getting this into legislative action?
Sure, Andrea. Well, we'll try to get the Senate to put it in the defense authorization bill, and then hopefully it'll come over to the House. But then also these bills will be filed as standalone bills. Jeff Dunham from California had the Enlist Act, which would allow Dreamers to go into the military. I had an amendment which would allow DACA students to apply to our military academies. And so these two things work together. And what's unfortunate is that last year they made Representative Denham's amendment in order and we're going to allow for a vote on it. He withdrew that amendment because the Republican leadership pledged to work with him to make it happen, and they broke that promise to him. And quite frankly, if they're not willing to entertain even the smallest issue on immigration, I really don't think they're going to do anything on immigration.
And Miriam, what was your experience? This is your first time, lobbying for something. You went up to the Hill, and you've been rebuffed on the sort of initial task. But what are your hopes? Why do you want to go into the military?
First, know that I'm not the only one in this country that is undocumented and wants to serve our nation. There was a group of individuals that came from all over the country yesterday for the same reason that I did, and that is because we support this country, and this is our country, the place that we consider our home, and we want to serve it. And just like us, there's 1,000 other undocumented individuals who want to do the same. And not only did we come here because that's our dream, but we also came because our families have a dream as well, right? And because we want to make sure that they get admin relief and that they stop deportations, and that our families are also included as part of a solution to the immigration problem that we're having.
And Congressman, there's a debate internally, we're told, between members of the administration at the cabinet level as to what the president should do about the deportation levels. What do you want to see the White House do? Where should they be coming down? We're expecting to hear something from Jay Johnson at Homeland Security pretty soon.
Well, first, I'm glad that the Director of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, is undertaking a review of deportations that many of us had been asking for some time. So that's a very positive step. I think what you'll see from him is a short-term solution and then later on a long-term solution on deportations. And I think you'll see some of those deportations curbed and more families being able to stay together. But all of that is just a bridge measure. Ultimately, the Congress has got to pass comprehensive immigration reform, and Republicans have got to allow a vote on it. It would pass if they did, and it's clear that the majority of Americans, an overwhelming majority, want this to pass.
Congressman, do you think that the Republicans are blocking you on this because they now realize after the midterms that it would give a leg up to Democratic candidates if the administration and Congress achieve something on immigration this close to the midterm elections?
Oh, I think as this with many other issues, they see everything that might happen here at the Capitol as a victory, a potential victory for the president, and they want to deny the president any kind of victory. But while doing that, they're hurting the country. They're not hurting Democrats. They're hurting these young students, and they're hurting the nation.
Now, Miriam, the White House was able to act on the Dreamers. You're a Dreamer, and you're in community college, and so you've got a deferral. So your hopes are you want to get into the military, but what happens if you can't get into the military when you get out of school?
Being able to continue my education, right? Ultimately, like you said and mentioned before, my ultimate goal is actually to serve this country and be allowed to join the military. but if not, to be given the opportunity even to continue my education, which I can't either, because we don't have state aid in New Jersey, and because also the government in general is not allowing undocumented students to continue their education, not providing the resources that we need. And ultimately also for my family. My family also needs relief. I have a sister who wasn't able to apply for deferred action, who missed it by a month. My family is still under threat of deportation, and I think a lot of dreamers want our families to stop living that fear of getting deported at any moment.
Well, just speaking for myself, our country is so lucky to have you and your family and dedicated young people like you. So we wish you well. We hope to stay in touch and follow your story. And Congressman, I want to make sure it is you that I'm talking to and not your identical twin. We know we're going to be seeing a lot more of him. I know you can't talk about it, but he has been talked about potentially for HUD. The confusion between the two of you is going to only get worse if he comes to Washington. You know that, don't you?
Well, I tried to keep him away, Andrea, but it looks like he may be coming here.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it another time. Thank you very much. Great to see you, Congressman, and Miriam as well. Thank you.